Hey everyone, Lauren here, wanting to talk to you today about knowing when you're ready to change and when you're ready to step into your power and to claim your sexuality. Because this is a big one, and everyone is going to go through that. Well, everyone's going to hear that call to change at a different time in their lives, at a different point in their own personal exploration. And it's perfectly natural to feel lots of resistance to changing your sexuality, to addressing it, to solving some of your problems, to speaking out about some of your concerns, because it's daunting and it's really intimate and it makes us feel really, really vulnerable. So it's not something that we're necessarily signing up for every day, because it can feel really outward and really edgy going there into changing and shifting this part of your life, this very important part of your life. And what I see happening is lots of women do all forms of exploration in through movement and yoga and therapy and almost everywhere else. And sometimes they come to me as the last piece of the puzzle, which is interesting because, and it's a very natural progression to sort of leave your sexuality till last. But what I've found is that sexuality addresses a lot of those other concerns that women have, and it takes you in deep, but it's really fulfilling in that it sort of ticks the boxes on your body, your anatomy, your boundaries, your identity, your lifestyle. We can't ever look at a woman's sexuality in isolation. I can't ever sit down with a woman or sit across from her on the computer screen and just eliminate all of her lifestyle, her relationships, her patterns, her sabotages, how she feels about money. We can't just leave all of that behind and only focus on what's happening in the bedroom, because all of that is intertwined. So I'm going to share with you now how I knew that my sexuality needed a nudge, because the call came to me when, and it's not a physical call, like no one was saying, bring, hey Lauren, time to address your sexuality. But I'd been studying sexology for a year, and it was the beginning of 2012, and I started reading Slow Sex by Nicole Dodone, which is all about orgasmic meditation. And this book just started to it wasn't so much about the practice of orgasmic meditation, but it was about the big takeaway for me was about stripping back and subtraction rather than adding to my sex life. And I felt that I was really ready to subtract and strip back and get really clear, not necessarily add more to my life. So I used 2012, my New Year's resolution was to explore my sexuality on a personal note. And I did this while I was studying sexology and working as a nurse. And it was such a full-on year, such a steep learning curve. This call came to me, and I couldn't ignore it, and I couldn't shake it, and I couldn't handle the idea of my life I couldn't handle the idea of my life not changing and not shifting and not nudging or moving in any way, shape or form. Mm-hmm. I couldn't handle the idea that my sex life would never get better, because I knew that my sex life, everything came back to me and my feelings about sex. Really important point, not what was happening in the bedroom. It was all about my feelings about sex and sexuality, and that I had some blocks there that were just keeping me in this one spot that wasn't serving me or my relationship. And the way that I'd put it is that it's like having the light or the lights switched off when really I could have been fully shining and beaming in my power. And yeah, that's a really big thing to say. But your sexuality is powerful when it's used to serve you, when it's used with really good intentions, and when you use it to access pleasure and joy, and not to manipulate or control. It's really nourishing and radiant, and allows you to tap into confidence, which is what so many women want. They just want to feel confident about their bodies and about their identity, and about what is happening in the way that they connect with their partners. So you know that it's time for things to change, because your being in your comfort zone has become uncomfortable. Okay, really important point. You know your sexuality needs to change when being in your comfort zone has become uncomfortable. It becomes uncomfortable because just the idea of everything being exactly as it is now just causes irritation, causes annoyance and frustration. So frustration is when you're hitting your head up against a wall and you feel like you can't break through that wall. So frustration means that you care. That's a really important point. If you're feeling frustrated about your sexuality or your sex life, oh, by the way, I see sexuality as your feelings, and your sex life as what you actually do in sex. Your sexuality is the most important part, because that will feed into your sex life. So that's your foundation. That's the foundation of your sexual house, your sexuality. So if you feel frustration about your sexuality, about your inhibition, about your anxiety, then that means that you care. And that might be one of your indicators that you're ready to integrate some new information into your life, into your personal endeavors. So I was, just to take it back to the beginning of 2012, I can't believe it's been 5.5 years, I was ready to integrate new information. I was ready to really confront and hold the mirror up. And that's really scary. I'm not saying it's easy, but I just didn't feel that going on with no new knowledge was sustainable. So your intuition will scream a sense of readiness, and what will happen is the fear and the apprehension and the resistance will still be there, but it'll decrease, and it'll make way for curiosity and a sense of urgency. It's a really wonderful thing when you come to that place where you've made the decision and you just want to act on it. And what I've said to women on the phone when I'm chatting with them, when they're booking in for sessions, is like, for me, if I've got a problem, I just want it solved, and I just want it done thoroughly. So I'm someone who goes in deep to something, into a topic, learns it thoroughly, and then comes back out again, and then I can go into the next topic. So I don't like little bits of information here and there. I just want to go deep. I want to learn it. I want to integrate it. I want it to be there in my body. I want to be able to recall it without having to go to a book again. And that's where a lot of my offerings really allow you to do that. They allow you to go in and go deep and just solve the problem. Just solve the problem of having a crappy sex life. Because if it's crappy now, and all your attempts to do it on your own, to work it out, are just creating more frustration than actually solving the problem, that's definitely a cue that you need some external input. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in needing help with your sex life. If one of the blogs I've done that you might have seen is about how much money I've happily spent on improving my sex life and learning about sex. So it's probably around 50K now, which is money very well spent. It's a sound investment. But my offerings that I have are much lower price than what I've spent over the last 7 years. So Right now, I've got Bedroom Basics, the e-course, closing in less than 36 hours if you're watching this right now at 3 o'clock. So it closes for enrollments. You can still access the course after the deadline if you've enrolled, but the enrollments close at midnight tomorrow night, midnight Thursday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And Bedroom Basics, if you haven't already had a peruse, a stalk, a play around with it, because it's pretty cool. The sales page is pretty cool. The page is very, very cool that I've had set up for it. It is 4 modules of looking at your mindset, how to initiate sex, how to be confident in your body, and how to navigate the very touchy terrain of touch. So what I've aimed to do in this course is answer all of women's most pressing questions about sex. Questions that I get asked in sessions, at conversations, what I've been asked in Amplified, my group program that's coming up again soon, all these biggest questions. So I haven't been able to answer everything in Bedroom Basics, but this is your foundation. This is about feeling good, getting clear, claiming or reclaiming your power, feeling more confident about what you're doing, and just owning it, like completely owning it, not putting your pleasure on someone else as this riddle to be solved, just learning how to quieten down your mind, get into your body, and just have some really clear skills on what you can do when you get stuck and how you can approach areas that tend to bring up a lot of resistance in women, like initiating sex. Lots of women feel really blocked about that and don't feel very confident at all. So it's up now for only 36 more hours. I've got a private Facebook group to go with it, which I'm going to start feeding and nourishing and nurturing from Friday when the course is closed. So that's a really sweet bonus that I've added in for you to get so much out of all of this wealth of knowledge. Like, the course is jam-packed, and I'm jam-packing it in even more with the group as well, so that you can keep accessing me, my wisdom, and my 50K worth of wisdom, knowledge, experience. Say yes, go have a look at Bedroom Basics. I'll put the link up, and it's only $149. It's cheap. Cheap as, but that's not a reflection of the value of the content that's inside and the problems of yours that it's going to address. And it's convenient. You can access it whenever you want from the privacy of your own home, and it's really nice and safe if you're feeling like you don't want to be out there with sessions or a group program. So I'll put that up now. Enjoy, and I hope it's time for you to be nudged into your power, to start tapping into your sexuality, and to start making a change to your boring, perfunctory, in the dark sex life that needs to come out into the light. So if you're ready for that, I'm here, and this offer is closing soon. So I'd really love for you to say yes. That's all for me for now. I'll see you next week on Facebook Live. Bye.